This episode is brought to you by Peloton. Break through the busiest time of year with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus. Powered by Peloton IQ. With real-time guidance and endless ways to move, you can personalize your workouts and train with confidence, helping you reach your goals in less time. Let yourself run, lift, sculpt, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Hey, it's Brooklyn Adams, and I'm partnering with Abercrombie to tell you about the newest drop from their active brand, Your Personal Best. YPB leggings are made with buttery soft fabrics that hug you in all the right places and come in Abercrombie's viral Curve Love fit, designed to eliminate waist gap. Paired with sports bras and super soft sweatshirts, it's activewear that supports every part of my busy lifestyle and gives me my best butt ever. Head into the new year feeling your personal best. Shop Active by Abercrombie in the app, online, and in stores.
What do you get when you cross a goat with a pickle? A dilly billy. What do you get when you cross a goat with a pickle during winter? A chili dilly billy. What do you get when you cross a goat with a pickle during winter and let it out of its pen? A chili dilly billy running round willy-nilly. Piggy and goat roll their eyes. You're not a funny bunny, Piggy says. You're an unfunny bunny.
Hey everyone, I'm Bianca Schulze, founder of the Children's Book Review, and this is the Growing Readers Podcast. Today's superstar guest is Kenan Thompson. You probably know Kenan as Saturday Night Live's longest-tenured cast member and from beloved family favorites like Kenan and Kel, All That, and the Trolls franchise, where he voices the absolutely adorable Tiny Diamond. His work has entertained generations of families, and now he's bringing his trademark humor and heart to the picture book world with his debut, Unfunny Bunny. In our conversation, we explore the book's powerful message about kids having confidence to pursue dreams, the importance of nurturing children's authentic voices and creative instincts, and why humor matters. Before I share our conversation, here is the synopsis for Unfunny Bunny. From the beloved, longest-tenured cast member of Saturday Night Live, Kenan Thompson, comes a hilarious new picture book perfect for fans of Jory John and Grumpy Monkey. Tomorrow is Bunny's first day of school, and everything is going to be perfect. All he wants is to be the funniest kid in class and make everyone else laugh. But when Bunny gets there, his jokes fall flat. What's an unfunny bunny to do? This laugh-out-loud tale about unexpected friendship and pursuing your dreams is a silly, lighthearted read-aloud stuffed with 30 unfunny jokes that are sure to send readers of all ages into fits of giggles. Welcome to the Growing Readers Podcast, Kenan.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Well, as you once said in an SNL skit, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to get some information, and it's going to be a sensation.
Uh-huh. Yes, indeed. That sounds like what's up with that.
Exactly. Ooh-wee. I couldn't help myself.
Thank you. I love those. Those are my favorites.
Well, I want to start with just some kind of quick rapid-fire questions. And the first one I have is, I read that you're a fan of The Price is Right.
Yes.
Which was your favorite game as a kid?
I think I liked the climber because they sang the little like yodel song.
Me too. And then how stressful it was when he got right to the top and then toppled over the edge.
That and Plinko. Yeah, when he toppled over the edges, it's like, God. But yeah, between that and Plinko's my favorite. Hence The Wall, which is the greatest game show ever. So yeah, like.
Well, you're the longest tenured cast member in SNL's history, so congrats on that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. What's been your favorite sketch that you've ever been a part of? I know that's a hard question.
Yeah. I mean, my baby is What's Up With That, because that was like my, kind of first idea. It was my second idea that I got on the show, but it was like the first one that I I felt like I really like planted that seed, myself kind of thing.
Yeah.
Getting straight, I had a lot of help, from Colin when we were sharing an office back in the day. Those were the days. But yeah, What's Up With That is my baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. My favorite SNL song is Come Back Barack. What's your favorite song you've ever sung on the show?
Oof, that's a tough one too. There's so many good ones. Can't really recall all of them. I can only think about recent ones, and then the sillier the better, I think. And then sometimes it's ones that I'm not even in, like Lake Beach. I love Lake Beach because, Andrew and James have just been holding down Southern culture pretty strong from their perspective. And it's just so great. And I think Lake Beach is a prime example of them kind of showcasing their roots, which is always fun. It makes you feel closer to them. So yeah, I like Lake Beach a lot.
Okay. And then if you had to pick one character you've played that best represents who you are and your sense of humor when you're at home, who would it be?
Probably David Ortiz, just a big happy guy, eats a big lunch, and just loves life, wants to help the world with inventions or whatever he can kind of thing. Yeah, it's just a solid individual.
All right. And then last rapid fire. What's the last book you read to a kid in your life, and did they laugh?
The last book I read to a kid was my book, The Unfunny Bunny. And yeah, they laughed a lot. And I read it to a school that had elementary up to middle school, and the middle school kids even enjoyed. So it's a pretty good range.
Yeah. I think I saw a clip of that on social media, and yeah, it was adorable.
They are so adorable. God bless the children.
Well, so that's a great lead in. So let's talk about Unfunny Bunny. You've been making people laugh for decades, and now you're tackling picture books. So what made you want to jump into the world of children's literature?
I mean, I loved it growing up. A lot of my colleagues have done it. So I guess once I got into kind of, I scratched the book itch with my memoirs, it kind of made sense as a next step thing, because I enjoy kind of children's entertainment. Being a child entertainer myself, I kind of understand that world. And, I just enjoy the freedom and innocence of your childhood. It goes by way too fast before you even know how precious it is. So it's always nice to revisit, through other, people's eyes, and that's kind of what this book is. Just back to the colors, back to the fun characters, and just, having a good time kind of looking at funny images or listening to funny jokes, So back to my childlike innocence, I think.
Yeah.
Just having a good time with your day and, listening to good and bad jokes, basically.
Yeah. Ooh, Bunny wants to be the funniest kid in class on his first day of school. And that's a lot of pressure to put on oneself. So what inspired this particular story about a character whose jokes kind of start falling flat right from the start?
Yeah, I was about to say, those are some high hopes, to be the funniest right off the bat without even testing the audience first. But what inspired it? I guess you could say we were mostly starting from title, what should we write a kid's book about? And then we landed on the title. And then that rhyme, I think it was Funny Bunny. And then it was maybe it's Unfunny Bunny, maybe there's more of a journey there, starting from unfunny to actually, funny kind of thing. And that's, I think, that was the thought process and how we got there. And yeah, I could relate, because I was I've been there where I thought something would play a lot better than it did. And then you just have to figure out, okay, where did I miss you guys? What's the bridge that needs to happen with these references? You just start figuring it out based on, you got to get out there first. You got to put yourself out there first. So there's no way of getting around that. If you want to be, a person that entertains people, you kind of got to know, how groups respond to what you're thinking, which is very, stressful and also scary, but it's also very rewarding, because once you have that toolkit, is pretty useful. I think when people figure out how to translate their personal sense of humor to the rest of the world, that's when you have your successful stand-up comics, performing comics, anybody like that.
Yeah. I feel like you might have kind of answered my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because with your career spanning so long, you have to know a thing or two about persistence and what it takes to stay funny year after year. So how does Bunny's journey of dealing with jokes that don't land intersect with your own experience in comedy, and particularly when it comes to the writing piece? Because I know, like, when you're in person and maybe doing a skit on SNL, if something's not quite landing, maybe in the moment you can just be spontaneous and improvise a moment. But when you're writing and it's gone to print, like, this is it. But so how does Bunny's journey of dealing with those jokes that don't land intersect with yours?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're pretty similar. Anytime you say something that you expect people to laugh at it, whether it's a joke or, just a funny expression or anything, trying to get a laugh out of people, and it doesn't go according to plan is the lesson. I'm like, all right, well, missed that one. So how do I get back to it? And like, there's a joy in calling it out, which is what, SNL is fun for. When things go awry, you can always kind of like speak on it in the moment, whether it's a facial expression or whatever. You can acknowledge the fact that was, not expected, basically, kind of thing. And that can be a laugh. But that doesn't necessarily help the joke get better. So you still have to figure out wordage wise, or, if enough people even care about the subject matter enough to laugh at the joke. Sometimes you just have to simplify and just make it just real simple. If it's a simple joke, as opposed to trying to make it sound more complicated than it is. The audience is a lot smarter than you think, kind of thing, and they're very aware of current events, they're PC, they're this and that. So, you just have to be a little more intriguing, in your directions, kind of thing. If you're going to take people down a certain road, you have to be really smart about it. And, that journey of like figuring out exactly your level of intelligence and also your level of knowing your audience intelligence wise or whatever is, I think, a big part of what the Bunny is going through in a much more truncated form, because it's a children's book. But that's kind of exactly what the Bunny is going through. Tells a joke, realizes that the joke doesn't work, and then figures out why. So, yeah.
I feel like you said something that really, I think, hit the spot for me, was that enough people have to maybe care about the topic that you're creating. I think kids, well, adults too, we all just want to belong, right? We just want to feel like we belong. And I feel like that's the part that kids are really going to relate to. And that's why they're going to care about Unfunny Bunny, because whether they want to be a stand-up comedian or an entertainer, or like Bunny at the beginning thinks, maybe I'll be the sports player, right? Whatever it is, you just want to belong. And I think all kids are going to relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bunny, I think a person that's telling jokes to try to entertain people is their way of saying, accept me, please. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring me in. Like, I'm a useful part of the group. I can make everybody happy, as we figure out what we're doing throughout the day. Like, I'm useful. So, like, bring me in. It's definitely that.
Yeah. Well, the book includes about 30, and I'm going to quotation mark, unfunny jokes that are actually quite funny. So do you want to give us like a sneak peek at one of your favorites? Like, or do you want to like share, or even like the first joke that pops into your mind? I'm putting you on the spot. I know it.
No, I mean, there's so many good ones. Like, there's the dad. They just have a very dad jokey vibe kind of thing, where it's just like, pull my fingerish. But I have the book here. Hold on a second. Yeah. Let's see. All right. Yeah. Why is the airplane so good at football? It has dozens of touchdowns. Okay. Come on.
Yeah.
How do you make a cat fly with a catapult? Like, little stuff like that.
Yeah. I love it.
Classic joke telling.
Yes. Yeah. I think there's one about I'm not even going to try. I won't land it. But the snowman at the beach. What's a snowman at the beach? A puddle.
Yeah, man. Visuals, but plays on words, like all of that those are writing dynamics, like creative writing skills. Like, if you have those, opportunities to take those classes, I think that's where you will learn how to wordplay, but also how to help the reader visualize or the listener kind of visualize. And like those personal visuals can make the laugh, more so than just saying the word puddle. It's like you're imagining a snowman that was at the beach and is no longer.
Yeah. Now I'm actually foreseeing that I hadn't thought about it until this specific moment, that teachers could use this in the classroom for creative writing to really get kids to think about their wordplay and their use of words. And so I don't know, Macmillan, if you're listening, if there isn't already a teacher educator guide, I think you need to whip one out.
Don't worry, we will contribute. We want our percentage.
This is your fix.
I'm your host, Stassi Schroeder. Welcome to Tell Me Lies, the official podcast. What's the most unhinged thing of season 3?
Steven, because he's so evil.
I do think he is misunderstood.
You see everyone face consequences. It's intoxicating.
The writers just know how to trick you.
There's always a twist in this show.
Tell Me Lies, the official podcast, January 6th, and stream the new season of Tell Me Lies, January 13th on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
We all want to know, what makes people tick?
How will they make decisions?
Handle feedback?
And work
as a team.
The Predictive Index Behavioral Assessment reveals how employees actually think, work, and thrive. Like how Marcus fits in a role with structure, and Margot's strength is collaborating with others. Because when we understand each other, work just works. Take the behavioral assessment today at try.predictiveindex.com.
Well, the book has those themes of sort of unexpected friendship and also pursuing your dreams even when things don't go as planned. And so, I also kind of see an overlap here because Unfunny Bunny makes friends with a hedgehog that actually helps support in writing the jokes. And this book is co-authored as well. And I wonder if part of that relationship between Unfunny Bunny and Hedgehog is similar to yourself and to Bryan.
100%. I mean, Bryan and others, like me and Bryan did What's Up With That together. And we've done a lot of sketches like that over the years, Black Jeopardy and stuff like that. Colin was a large collaborator too when I first started really getting my personal ideas into the mix kind of thing, like I was mentioning earlier with Scared Straight and stuff like that. But I also worked closely with James Anderson and Paul Lapels and Seth Meyers used to write a lot. Tina would throw things in kind of thing. So I've always been, very, blessed to be the recipient of fantastic writers writing in my direction kind of thing. And the Hedgehog, I think, encompasses the art of collaboration in general kind of thing. Me and Bryan Tucker definitely have that relationship because when he's in the office, he's my go-to check-in guy on a weekly basis. Like, got any ideas this week? Or I have this idea, let's try to flush it out kind of thing. And, we've been doing that for years. So I was going to say, that hedgehog relationship is pretty it's pretty critical in my opinion for certain people. Like, if you're not just born a writer kind of thing, you need a collaborator. You need somebody to help get the jumbled kind of ideas bouncing around your mind and put it down in an actual blueprint that makes sense for everybody else. You know what I mean? In my mind, I have all these references from movies that I've watched a million times, but if you haven't seen The Three Amigos, then I can't just throw out generic references inside that movie and expect everybody to laugh at it when I'm trying to talk about being late for the subway and trying to make those two things work together kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's maybe too abstract. So maybe you have to pick a larger movie kind of thing. Maybe When Harry Met Sally or something. And now you're talking about a larger audience, maybe kind of thing. I don't know. But ping-ponging with someone kind of will help you having to walk that plank in front of audiences all the time before, your material is ready. So I love that. And I love when Sandler talks about his first days at NYU and then day one meeting, his lifelong writing partner, Tim Hurley, you know what I mean? And Martin is on the show now in the cast and doing, brilliant work and stuff like that. So like, I'm just a witness of that kind of companionship when it comes to, funny creation, basically. Like you got a funny guy and then you have a writer, so therein is the perfect mixture to create story that the rest of us can follow and make sense of and really appreciate the talent of Adam Sandler. You know what I mean? Like if you see him just doing prank calls all the time, you might not realize what a brilliant writer he actually is personally. You know what I mean? You might just think he's just a silly guy making noises on the phone and annoying people or whatever. But, it's definitely much more deeper than that because his sense of humor has a lot of depth to it. He's got a lot of reference material. Been alive a long time. He's a wise man. Like Eddie Murphy loves to throw out 1930s, 30s movies references, you know what I mean? Constantly. Like all those old actors, old medicines, things like that. He just loves, I think, throwing out old knowledge because he's just like, I want you to know, like, not only do I know things in my era, but I know things 2 eras before me as well, you know what I mean, in a very like specific kind of way. And it's so specific that it's funny, you know what I mean? When he talks about like mercurochrome and methylate, those are some old ass brand names for medicines, healing ointments or whatever. Nowadays we have Neosporin, you know what I mean? That sounds more current to us, but like they used to just call things by the actual chemical. Like methylate, like good God, who's that supposed to appeal to? But that's the generation it comes from. So funny. So like, I just love when those two worlds meet basically to kind of bring it all back together.
Yeah, I do too. And I think that's what's so important for kids to take from the book too, is like, okay, we talked a moment ago about finding that sense of belonging, right? But following your passions, what's true to you, but also that you don't have to go it alone. And actually, when you invite other people into your world, look at the magic that can come from that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
We're supporting fellowship.
Yeah, for sure. So all right. So you're writing with Bryan, but this is your first picture book together. How was that experience different to anything else you've done, like that writing process?
Well, this was different because we were totally separate. Like, I don't think we sat in the same room at all ever on this process. I just asked him for jokes, basically, for this one. So he did like the joke work and then I did the story work. And yeah, like I think we sent like concepts back and forth kind of thing, but I mostly leaned on him for the good jokes, basically.
Yeah. And then do you test those out on kids, or you already some of the jokes are familiar jokes, but like, did you just went with your gut, or did you do like test reads, or?
I kind of just went with my personal preferences because like, I love a bad joke. You know what I'm saying? So like, it can only go up from there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so if you love a bad joke, and I'm pulling from that little social media clip I saw of you reading Unfunny Bunny with the school, it seemed like that maybe some of the kids were invited up to tell jokes. And one of my favorite things about being with younger kids, like second grade and under, when they tell a joke, I mean, they are some of the unfunniest jokes you'll ever hear in your life. And that's what does truly make them funny.
100%. Like there's the prime example of learning on your feet, basically, because they want to volunteer, because they want to be a good person in the class and they want to be part of the group. You notice what you're told to do is like be a participant, be a good student, stuff like that. So all those hands fly up when it's like, who wants to tell a joke? None of like 1% of them will actually have a joke. So like they just want to get up there and participate and be a part of it, which is an amazing thing to see, kids engaging in the day, basically, and not being bored by school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus mark for us parents and us adults kind of thing right there. Then they get up there and then they say something and, the reactions that they get, you can see it on their face. They're like, they're confused or they're, it went well, either one, So like when they're confused, it's like, my favorite part was when we were all figuring out what would have made the joke better in that moment. So the kid can be like, oh, maybe if I would have put this word over here, and then we tell it and then it actually works. Like if there's clips of that, then that was my favorite part because some of the kids were calling it out. They were like, no, use this word over here, then put it over there. You know what I mean? So they're really smart, even though they're little. They just have to practice joke telling. You know what I mean? It's an art form. It's to be learned like any other craft, basically. And to watch the little ones do it is really, it's glorious because they're so happy when they actually cross that finish line of it making sense. You know what I mean? So like, that's always very exciting. If you genuinely like putting smiles on faces, it's nice to watch them discover like the specificities of doing that, you know? And like, unfortunately, it's, you know, fortunately and unfortunately, it's a very specific way of speaking, but it works, you know, even when it's a simple little dad joke.
Yeah. And we do love dad jokes.
I got a book of them.
I'm sure you do. Well, as you're talking about, you know, like that moment where the kids are wondering in whether their joke landed or not, it made me think of Tony Neal's artwork in the book, which is so much fun because I love the close-up scene of Bunny sweating it out. Like it's like a zoom in shot and you can see the other kids in the class in the background and the sweat on Bunny's head. I love that. Just waiting for the laughter to come. Is it going to come?
I love it too. Shout out to Tony Neal. He did his thing with this book. And like, he's one of those illustrators where, you know, examples of his previous work was like, this is totally it. And I saw a bunch of different examples of artists, but his drawings just fit that tone that I guess maybe is reminiscent of, you know, books that I grew up with, you know, big smiles, big, you know, graphic faces. Being able to see the fur and stuff like that, all those little details, colors, and just everything is like, look at the color. Everything is just like, kapow.
Yeah.
Ta-da, you know? I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I think too, like I mentioned like a close-up scene, right? Where it's like, you know, Bunny's head sweating, but he just even got those smaller details that like kids can pour over. And I mean, right from I think it's on the first page and Bunny's in bed and there's a pair of Love Heart undies poking out from under the dresser. I mean, kids love that stuff. I mean, he nailed it. He really did.
Yeah, thank you, man. So yeah, good job, Tony.
Yeah, a round of applause.
I love this.
All right. Well, you've played so many memorable characters from Tiny Diamond in Trolls to your iconic work on Kenan and Kel. And my kid's favorite was Bricklebaum in The Grinch. When I said I was talking to Kenan Thompson, and just so you know, they don't watch Saturday Night Live because they're not old enough yet. They said, who's Kenan Thompson? And they're old enough to Google. So they Googled. And I wish that I'd have recorded. They were like, well, he's in this movie? He's in this? He's in a Home Alone movie? What? He's Bricklebaum. And then they like just started dying. So
go into a deep dive. That's fantastic.
So what have you learned about what makes children laugh throughout your career that you think you were able to bring into this book?
I mean, I think a lot of it is just like, you know, your honest portrayal of what you think is funny. You know what I mean? Like if you smiles are infectious and all that stuff. So the sillier you are, you know, they're just going to just basically just latch on to whatever you're doing energy wise kind of thing. And then, you know, like as far as like kids is concerned. And then when you get into older kids, now they're, you know, they've got a little more reference material. They're a little like wiser. So then you can actually start formulating your speech patterns towards them in a funny way. But as far as like kids, you know, kids just like stubbing your toe even or whatever, just playing with them and giving them the attention kind of thing is what makes kids excited. So yeah, that's what I've learned.
Yeah, I love that. So it sounds like directing the attention towards them because they do just want to be seen. Mm-hmm. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that there's going to be more bunny books or different like characters? What are you thinking?
I think it could do a lot of that. It could easily be one of those teaching tools about life, like Unfunny Bunny learns how to do this, or Unfunny Bunny goes to the moon, or, you know, I think there's a lot of potential there. So I'm looking forward to watching it grow. How whoever wants to take the reins and just, you know, push it in one direction or another. And then also maybe like bringing it into the animated world possibly and stuff like that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there.
Well, what do you hope kids take away from Bunny's story, and especially kids who might be nervous about their own first day of school or trying out something new?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on like perseverance. We touched on, just being confident, but also, not being too naive to kind of see what's really going on, and learning the lesson, engaging in a good friend when they pop up and being a good friend back to a good friend. And then, the magic that two friends can create is what you're probably looking for in the first place. But sometimes it takes, a partner to kind of tell you like, change this word or change that word, or, you're coming off a little crazy over here. Like maybe pull that back, and normalize it a little bit for everybody else. Like any of that kind of balancing of the scales kind of thing. And, being yourself, and there's nothing wrong with being outward if you want to be that person that wants to command the classroom and tell jokes when it's appropriate. But also like, don't be afraid to scrape your knee. If you scrape your knee, put a Band-Aid on it and keep it moving. Like it'll heal and you'll be better off for it.
Yeah. I feel like that last part, I feel like that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Just, knowing that like not everything you're going to do in life is going to land, right? And I feel like your story of using jokes and comedy writing and being a comedian and telling that is such a perfect metaphor for all aspects of life. Like
all aspects of life. Like it really goes hand in hand with like the simplicity of try again, because you're talking to a guy who couldn't even roller skate and I learned how to play hockey. And I fell so much the first week or so trying to learn how to ice skate. I didn't think I would be able to do it, especially after day one. Day one was the craziest. Like I spent the whole day trying to stand up for just hours and hours and hours. And when I was done, I was like, I don't know if I want to be an actor because I didn't know acting came with having to learn, sports like hockey on the fly. But my mom didn't let me quit, thank God. And I went back day 2, day 3, day 4, and I can play, which is a wild concept to me. Like I can play hockey coming from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like that's wild. So you really can do anything you put your mind to and try hard at. The trying part, is the key.
Yeah, it's the trying part. I do. I love that. Well, Kenan, thank you so much for sharing Unfunny Bunny with young readers everywhere and with everyone listening to this podcast. And I have to say that in a world that can feel pretty heavy sometimes, creating a book that celebrates friendship and laughter and reminds kids that it's okay when things don't go perfectly, I think is such a gift. And I just want more of this kind of joy and energy that you've brought in 2026. I want more of it. So just thank you. And I have no doubt that Bunny's story is going to help kids search for their confidence and their own path to making people smile. So we're just so grateful to have had you on the show today.
Thank you so much, Bianca. It's a pleasure. I hope kids love the book. I hope parents love the book, grandparents, like whoever. It's just another tale as old as time of, just keep going, man. Don't let anybody stop you. But also, be willing to take on a passenger. There's nothing wrong with going down the road not alone. It's like we're supposed to kind of be united in this world. So keep that in mind as well.
Perfect way to end, Kenan. Thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us on our quest to grow readers. And thanks to Kenan Thompson for joining us today and sharing the inspiration behind Unfunny Bunny. What an important reminder that when we believe in kids and encourage them to pursue what brings them joy, whether that's comedy, art, sports, or anything else, we give them permission to become their fullest, most authentic selves. Unfunny Bunny is available now wherever books are sold. You'll find links to order the book in our show notes, along with a link to follow Kenan on Instagram at Kenan Thompson. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to the Growing Readers podcast and leave us a review on your favorite listening platform. The Growing Readers podcast is a production of the Children's Book Review. For more fun books like Kenan Thompson's Unfunny Bunny, I hope you'll visit us at thechildrensbookreview.com.